Okay, next we're gonna take a look at header param and cookie param annotations. Header param basically trying to access HTTP request header. So in this example, we like to access accept request header by using header param. And here all we do is basically displaying that accept header information, so that is header param. So you can actually access any request header. Cookie param is to inject cookies sent by a client request into your JAX-RS resource name. So suppose if I want to get customer ID cookie param, cookie coming from the client, I can access that, okay, as a custom ID. All right, so exercise 5, here we're gonna just play around with the header param. So here I'm gonna click this guy, and you can see we are basically displaying accept header. Okay, just make sure that the so let me just display developer tool, and again, if I click this guy, you can see the request header. So in this case, the request header, request parameter. So the accept header is text HTML, application XHTML, XML, application XML, blah blah blah, and at the end, the quality is 08. So that's basically what we are displaying here. All right. So that is the exercise. And for your exercise, content type. So if you actually add a content type, we don't have actually in fact the content type in the request header, so it will actually return 0. So I should in fact actually change it to maybe user agent. Okay, so try to access user agent field rather than content type, because we don't have any content type in the request header. All right, so I'm going to actually move on to the next topic as well, and I'll give you a bigger chunk of time for doing exercise 5 and 6. Next is context. Context annotation is to access various type of information. So in fact, you can actually access URI info information, HTTP headers, and the security context object, and you can access request object and also provider. So these are the informations that you can access just having these guys injected, all right, by using context annotation. All right, so that is exercise 6. So let's take a look at exercise 6. So here we are going to actually build and run the context. So we are going to actually access various type of information. So let's see, injection context. Injection context here. Let's actually run this guy, run on server, and finish. And the first thing we're going to access is URI info. So basically URI info is basically giving you the URL. Okay, in fact we are accessing the absolute path, so this is what gets displayed. And header response, so we should be able to actually get the header information as we did with the in previous example. And here we are accessing whether method is secure or not by the having security context object. And then here we are actually trying to access the HTTP method that is used, is supposed to be get. So, and then here we're going to actually display some of the providers that are configured. We haven't talked about the concept of providers yet. You can think of providers are basically system level services. Okay. All right. Oh, let's see. Content parameter 0 is unable to start within 45 seconds. Oh, what's going on here? Let's see. I'm gonna just remove all these guys. Okay, and let's actually run. Oh, maybe I didn't actually build it. Okay, it's built. Let's actually make sure that I am doing the clean build. So I'm gonna do Maven clean, and then Maven instance. Okay, now let's actually run the application. Run on server. Okay. All right. So absolute path. So giving this is the absolute path I'm actually using. This is trying to get the accept header. So this is the accept header, and this is a security context object we can actually call to see whether this is in fact the secured operation or not. It is false because you're not doing any authentication and all that stuff yet. Method of request. So here we can tell this is a get method, and this is the JAX-RS providers. All right, so let's take a look at the code. So here we are actually getting all this, the object injected by JAX-RS runtime. Okay, so URI info, HTTP headers, security context object, request object, providers. Okay, and basically, we are getting so the first one, absolute path, we are just calling get absolute path method of URI info object, and we convert to into string. Okay, here we are just getting the HTTP headers, and we can call get request headers, and then get accept. We actually call the accept get and provide the accept header. By the way, it returns in the form of the array, so we're gonna actually call get. We're gonna actually get the first one. Okay. Here, once you got the security object, we can check whether it is secure operation or not, and it should return false. Okay, because we are not doing any authentication. Here, request object is we can call get method to get the HTTP method, and it should return get. And this is basically trying to get all providers. Okay. All right, for your own exercise, for URI info, display base URL of the method. So basically, if you take a look at the URI info, we are going to actually talk about the URI info in detail later on. But for the sake of the URI info here, you can just take a look at the the Java documentation. So Shift F2, and just call another method here. For example, get base URI. Call get base URI and just display that information. Okay. Okay, so I am going to give you guys about 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes to do exercise 5 and 6.